I once heard someone say, the poor work for money, but the rich make money work for them. And I thought, how true, but how misunderstood. Because before money ever works for you, your mind has to. Most people don't fail because they lack money. They fail because they lack a philosophy about money. They want the fruit before planting the tree. They chase wealth without first learning the wisdom that builds it. The truth is, the rich don't just think big, they think right. They don't just dream, they design. They don't just work hard, they work smart. And that's the secret no one tells you. Wealth isn't built by luck, it's built by laws. Laws of discipline, laws of leverage, laws of vision. So today, I'm not here to talk about getting rich overnight. I'm here to talk about thinking right for life. Because the moment you decide to think differently about money, time, and effort, that's the moment life starts to think differently about you. If you start smart, stay consistent, and think big enough, you won't just earn wealth, you'll become the kind of person wealth is attracted to. When I was a young man, I learned something that changed my life forever. You can't hit a target you can't see. Most people drift through life without a clear vision, and then they wonder why they keep ending up where they don't want to be. It's not because they lack effort, they lack direction. You see, activity without clarity is like running on a treadmill. A lot of movement, no progress. The wealthy don't get rich by accident. They build their fortune first in their imagination, then with their hands. Every mansion begins as a sketch. Every empire begins as a dream, clearly defined. The secret isn't to work harder, it's to see sharper. Now, vision is not just about money, it's about meaning. If your goal is simply to make a living, you'll get it. But if your goal is to make a difference, you'll create wealth that outlasts you. The first step is to design the life you want with precision. Don't just say, I want to be rich. What does that mean? How does it look? Where do you live? What kind of work do you do? Who do you help? What kind of person have you become? The mind needs a target, not a wish. Wishes are weak. Visions are magnetic. They pull you forward when motivation fades. When I first started learning about success, I was broke, pockets empty, dreams unformed. But my mentor told me, you don't have to start rich, you just have to start clear. That was a revelation. I wrote down exactly what I wanted, the kind of house, the kind of business, the kind of person I wanted to be. It wasn't about fantasy, it was about focus. And that focus changed everything. Once I could see it, I began to believe it. Once I believed it, I began to act on it. And once I acted on it, it started to become real. That's the power of vision. It builds the bridge between your imagination and your reality. If you don't have a clear financial picture, life will hand you someone else's plan. Most people are working hard every day to build someone else's dream simply because they never defined their own. You've got to sit down with a pen and paper and write out your financial vision for the next 10 years. Be specific. Not I want more money, but I want a portfolio of assets that earns me $10,000 a month in passive income. Then break it down into smaller goals. What can you accomplish in the next year, in the next 6 months, in the next week? Each milestone brings your dream within reach. Every morning, take a few minutes to visualize it, not as a fantasy, but as a rehearsal. Train your mind to believe that this future belongs to you. The clearer your vision, the stronger your decisions. The wealthy aren't lucky, they're clear. So, before you chase opportunity, define destiny. Because the truth is, you'll never build what you can't first see. When I first began my journey toward financial freedom, I learned that wealth isn't built by chance, it's built by structure. Just like a sturdy building stands on a strong foundation, wealth stands on 3 solid pillars: earning, saving, and multiplying. I call this the wealth triangle. If any one of these pillars is weak, the entire structure begins to wobble. Most people spend their lives strengthening only one side. They work hard to earn, but they forget to save. Or they save, but never learn how to multiply. The wealthy, however, master all three. They earn intelligently, save consistently, and invest wisely. Let's start with earning. Income is the seed of wealth. You can't save what you don't earn, and you can't invest what you haven't saved. But here's the key. Don't just work harder, work smarter. Learn to increase your value, not just your hours. When I was young, I used to think if I worked more hours, I'd earn more. But my mentor said, don't work for time, work for results. That changed my life. Develop skills that make you more valuable to the marketplace. Now, once you earn more, the next step is saving. And here's where most people lose the game. They earn more and immediately expand their lifestyle. Bigger paycheck, bigger car, higher income, higher expenses. The poor and the middle class upgrade lifestyle. The rich upgrade assets. Saving isn't about restriction, it's about redirection. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future. You're saying, I value tomorrow more than impulse today. When I began setting aside a fixed portion of my income, no matter how small, something remarkable happened. I began to respect my money more. I stopped seeing it as paper and started seeing it as potential. But saving alone won't make you wealthy. You must learn to multiply. Money that sleeps loses value. Money that moves creates opportunity. When you invest wisely, you make your money an employee, one that works 24 hours a day, never complains, and doesn't take weekends off. The wealthy don't just work for money, they let money work for them. And here's the truth. You don't need a fortune to start, you just need discipline. Begin by dividing your income. 60% for living, 20% for saving, and 20% for investing. Live below your means so your future can rise above them. And every few months, review your wealth triangle. Ask yourself, am I earning more than I did before? Am I saving what I earn? Am I multiplying what I save? If one area is weak, strengthen it immediately. Wealth isn't luck. It's structure, discipline, and balance. If you master the triangle, earn wisely, save diligently, invest intelligently, you'll never have to chase money again. It will start chasing you. You know, I've always said that it's easy to dream big. The challenge is staying disciplined enough to act small. Everyone loves the idea of becoming a millionaire, but very few are willing to do the small, unexciting things that actually make it happen. Dreaming big gives you direction, but acting small gives you progress. That's the difference between those who talk about success and those who live it. Most people make the mistake of thinking success requires giant leaps. It doesn't. It requires tiny, consistent steps in the right direction taken every single day. When I was young, I had big dreams and no structure. I wanted the mansion, the travel, the freedom. But I kept waiting for the big opportunity. Then one day, a wise man told me, you don't build wealth by waiting for big breaks. You build it by keeping small promises to yourself. That hit me hard. It made me realize that the bridge between dreams and reality is discipline. The wealthy don't wake up rich, they wake up consistent. So, here's how you think big but act small. First, define your vision in bold detail. What does your financial freedom look like? Then, break that vision into daily disciplines. If you want to save $1 million in 20 years, it starts with saving $10 today. If you want to build a business empire, it starts with calling one potential client today. If you want to grow your mind, it starts with reading 10 pages today. It's not the size of the action, it's the consistency of the act that compounds. The mistake most people make is overestimating what they can do in a year and underestimating what they can do in a decade. The secret of the wealthy is patience combined with persistence. They think in decades but act daily. They understand that success isn't a single explosion, it's a slow burn. Every time you save instead of spend, invest instead of consume, learn instead of distract, you're building that invisible wealth foundation. It's not visible yet, but it's growing quietly. That's why you must set 3 key habits and guard them fiercely. Save daily, invest consistently, and learn relentlessly. Even if you only save a small amount, it builds the discipline muscle. Even if your investment is modest, it builds confidence. Even if you learn one small thing each day, it compounds into wisdom that multiplies your wealth later. Every small effort stacks up, and soon you'll look back and realize how far those little steps have taken you. Once a month, take time to review and refine. Ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? Where can I improve? Growth isn't automatic, it's intentional. Success loves structure. Remember, dream big, but don't get lost in the dream. Act small, because small actions create unstoppable momentum. One day, those tiny efforts will add up to something so massive that others will call it luck, but you'll know it was daily discipline. The real secret? Wealth isn't built in one big moment. It's built one small act at a time. Let me tell you something that changed my life. Most people look rich before they actually are, and that's exactly why they stay broke. I used to think wealth was about looking successful. The car, the suit, the watch, the image. But I later realized all those things were costumes, not character. You see, wealthy people buy freedom, while poor people buy validation. The poor want to look rich, the rich want to be free. And freedom doesn't shout, it whispers quietly in ownership, in choices, in peace of mind. When I began my journey, I made a terrible mistake. I spent every new dollar I earned. Every raise became a reason to buy something new. Then one day, I was visiting a mentor of mine, a man worth millions. His home was modest. His car was old. But his investments were vast. He said to me, "Son, I'd rather have my money working for me than hanging in my closet." That line stuck with me for life. I realized that while I was chasing appearances, he was building assets. He didn't need to look wealthy. He was wealthy. Here's the truth. Every dollar you spend is either buying you freedom or buying you a moment of validation. The key to wealth is assigning a job to every dollar. Grow. Not sit idle, not get spent on things that depreciate, but grow. A dollar spent on a fancy gadget disappears. A dollar invested in an asset multiplies. The wealthy understand this game. They don't see money as something to flaunt. They see it as a tool, a worker, a soldier. They send their money out to fight for their freedom, while most people spend theirs to impress strangers who don't even care. So, start tracking your expenses. Be brutally honest with yourself. Ask, is this purchase adding value or just noise? Eliminate vanity spending, the dinners, the luxury items, the unnecessary upgrades that make you feel good for a moment but leave you poor forever. Instead, redirect that money into assets. Buy a piece of real estate. Start a business. invest in the market, build something that will produce income while you sleep. Because the day your money starts working for you, that's the day you stop working for money. And here's the greatest secret of all. Let your lifestyle lag behind your income. When your income doubles, don't let your expenses follow. Keep living modestly while you build your financial fortress. People may not notice you at first. They'll say you're too careful, too simple, too conservative. But years later, they'll be working while you're free. True wealth isn't in the noise, it's in the silence. It's not in what you wear, but what you own. It's not about showing people you've made it. It's about knowing you never have to prove it again. So the next time you're tempted to buy something shiny, ask yourself, is this helping me look rich or become free? That's the difference between appearances and assets, between illusion and independence. I learned early on that the greatest mistake a person can make is trying to earn before they learn. Most people rush into opportunities with excitement, but without understanding. They're eager to make money, but they never take the time to understand how money actually works. And that, my friends, is why most people lose it just as quickly as they get it. You see, money doesn't make you rich, knowledge does. Wealth isn't about luck or inheritance. It's about understanding principles that others overlook. Financial ignorance is the most expensive bill you'll ever pay, and it keeps coming due every month. When I first started out, I worked hard, I put in long hours, sacrificed weekends, chased deals, and thought effort alone would bring wealth. But effort without understanding is like running fast in the wrong direction. I'd earn a little, then lose it, because I didn't know what to do with it. Then one day, a mentor of mine asked me, "Do you know why you're broke?" I said, "Because I don't have enough money." He smiled and said, "No, you're broke because you don't have enough knowledge." That hit me hard. From that day on, I decided to make learning my first investment. I started reading books on business, on investing, on human behavior, anything that could help me understand how success works. I attended seminars, listened to people who had built wealth and asked them questions, and I noticed something remarkable. Every wealthy person I met had two common traits: discipline and understanding. They didn't guess their way to success, they studied it. They knew how money flows, how markets move, how people think. They didn't chase returns, they built systems. So, if you want to change your financial life, start with education. Read one good book a month. Not fiction, but something that teaches you about business, investing, or wealth creation. Go to workshops. Surround yourself with people who are smarter than you in the areas you want to master. Listen more than you talk. Because knowledge is leverage, it multiplies every action you take. One idea from a great book, one strategy from a wise mentor can save you years of mistakes. And don't just consume knowledge, apply it. Take small steps. If you read about investing, start with a small amount. If you learn about budgeting, create one for yourself this week. Real learning doesn't happen in theory, it happens in motion. Most people wait to know everything before they start, but the secret is you'll only learn deeply once you begin. So, learn before you earn. Make your mind your first investment account. Because once you understand the game, you'll stop being a pawn in someone else's. Knowledge turns effort into power and decisions into freedom. The wealthy don't guess, they understand. And when you understand how money works, it starts working for you. When I was young, I believed the only way to wealth was to work harder. I thought success meant more hours, more sweat, and more exhaustion. But the truth I eventually discovered is this: working harder doesn't make you rich. Working smarter does. The poor work in systems, the rich work on them. You see, labor alone will make you a living, but systems will make you a fortune. The question is not how many hours you can work, The question is how many hours your ideas can work for you after you stop. Most people build their lives around effort, not leverage. They trade time for money, believing that's the only exchange available, but time is limited, money is not. So, if all your income depends on your hours, you've already capped your potential. Wealthy people understand that the goal isn't to escape work, it's to create a structure that multiplies it. They build systems, businesses that run, investments that compound, content that pays, and teams that execute. Systems don't get tired. Systems don't take weekends off. Systems don't age. When I realized this, I stopped asking, how can I work more? And started asking, how can I make my work produce even when I'm not there? I began by automating simple things. My savings, my investments, my bills, everything that could be scheduled was set on autopilot. That single act freed my mind to focus on creation, not management. Then I started delegating tasks that didn't need my personal touch. I hired help for things that drained my time but didn't build my wealth. That shift from doing to directing transformed everything. You see, your creativity is your highest currency. Don't waste it on maintenance. If you're spending every day fighting fires, you'll never build the future. Instead, build systems that fight for you. Create products that sell while you sleep. Design services that run without your presence. Develop processes so efficient that growth becomes inevitable. The rich don't hustle harder, they construct smarter. And don't be afraid of automation or delegation. Many resist because they think I can do it better myself. Maybe you can, but that mindset traps you in smallness. The goal isn't perfection, it's multiplication. Systems multiply your effort, perfection limits it. I'd rather have 10 things running at 80% efficiency than one thing at 100% that depends on me forever. Start small. Automate one thing this week, your savings, your bills, or your investments. Build or buy one system, a digital product, a course, a rental property, or a business that runs beyond your hours. Replace repetitive effort with predictable flow. Because the true measure of wealth is not how hard you work, but how little you have to in order to keep earning. Wealth through systems isn't about laziness, it's about leverage. You're not escaping work, you're elevating it. And when your systems start working for you, that's when you finally understand the freedom the wealthy enjoy. When I first began studying the wealthy, I noticed something fascinating. They never relied on just one source of income. One man had a business, but he also owned real estate. Another invested in the stock market, and another had royalties from a book or a product. Different people, same principle. Never depend on one stream to fill your ocean. Because one stream of income is too close to none, the moment it dries up, your security vanishes. Too many people live on the edge of uncertainty because they depend entirely on one paycheck. If that check stops, life stops. But financial freedom isn't built on dependence, it's built on diversification. Wealthy people don't put all their confidence in a single source. They plant many seeds in different soils. Some grow fast, some slow, but together they create abundance that endures. Let me tell you from experience. When I was young and only had one income, I lived with constant worry. Every unexpected bill felt like a crisis. But once I began creating additional streams, a small business, a few smart investments, some recurring ventures, everything changed. I slept better. I could think long term, because wealth isn't about having millions. It's about having options. The key is to use your existing skills and resources. You don't need to start from scratch. Maybe you're good at teaching. Create an online course. Maybe you have industry knowledge. Turn it into consulting. Maybe you've saved some money, invested in a rental property or dividend-paying stocks. The goal is not to build 10 streams at once, but one new stream at a time, each year, each step, each discipline. Here's how I always approached it. Your main income is your foundation. That pays the bills. But your second income, that's your freedom fund. Reinvest it, don't spend it. Let that money grow into assets that produce more money. You see, the average millionaire doesn't rely on luck. They rely on systems of income that reinforce each other. Business feeds investment, investment funds, opportunity, and opportunity expands into legacy. That's the wealth cycle. Don't be fooled by the illusion of stability in one job or one client. The world changes fast, and security today can vanish tomorrow. That's why you must be your own safety net. Build income that can survive without your constant labor. Build streams that flow while you rest, that earn while you learn. Because real freedom begins when money stops being a daily concern and starts becoming a quiet partner in your vision. So start now. Develop one new venture in the next 12 months. Maybe small, maybe simple, but start. Let it teach you, let it grow. Reinvest every dollar it brings into assets that multiply themselves. The goal is not just to make a living, it's to build a life where your income works harder than you do. When you have multiple streams flowing into your life, you don't just survive economic storms, you sail through them with confidence. That's the essence of wealth, to own the flow, not chase the paycheck. It's a strange thing. People work so hard to earn money, yet so few work to protect it. They chase the thrill of gain, but forget the wisdom of preservation. Earning wealth is exciting, keeping it is discipline. And make no mistake, it takes far more character to maintain wealth than it does to make it once. Because protection is the silent art of the rich, unseen, uncelebrated, but essential. When I was young, I thought making money was the goal. I wanted to earn more, faster, bigger. But as I grew wiser, I realized the real goal was to keep what I earned and let it serve me for the long term. You see, anyone can get lucky once, but the truly wealthy are those who create structures that protect their fortune from loss, emotion, and time. It's not just about what you make, but about what you manage well enough to last. Most people lose money not because they're unlucky, but because they're unprepared. They invest emotionally, spend impulsively, or fail to plan for the unexpected. A sudden job loss, a medical emergency, a market crash, and years of effort disappear. That's why the first rule of wealth isn't make more, it's protect what you have. You don't build financial freedom on quicksand. You build it on foundations. So here's what the wise do. They build an emergency fund before they build an empire. They ensure their income, health, and assets because they know that protection is not fear, it's foresight. They diversify because no single idea, business, or market deserves blind trust. And most importantly, they review their financial world regularly. They don't set it and forget it. They adapt, adjust, and stay aware. Wealth, after all, isn't a statue, it's a living organism that needs care. I remember mentoring a man who made his first million through business. He was proud, and rightly so. But he ignored advice to diversify and protect his assets. A single deal went bad, and in 1 year, he lost nearly everything. Later he told me, "I thought discipline ended after success. Now I know it begins there." And he was right. Protecting your wealth requires a different kind of strength. The humility to know that success doesn't make you invincible. When you protect your wealth, you protect your freedom, and freedom is what money is truly for. But when you plan for risk, insure your future, and diversify your base, you gain the most precious asset of all, peace of mind. You can think clearly, act boldly, and give generously because you're not living in fear of loss. So don't just celebrate the income you create, celebrate the stability you maintain. Build walls around your fortune, not to trap it, but to ensure it serves you and your loved ones for decades. Wealth grows with intelligence, but it endures with discipline. Remember, making money is an event, keeping it is a lifelong habit. There comes a moment in every successful person's life when they begin to ask, is this all there is? You've worked hard, built something real, perhaps even achieved more than you imagined possible, yet something feels incomplete. That's because success, by itself, is only half the journey. The other half is significance. Success is what you achieve for yourself. Significance is what you create for others. And the truth is, the purpose of wealth isn't accumulation, it's contribution. When I was younger, I chased success like most people do. I wanted comfort, options, freedom. And once I got there, I realized something. Comfort doesn't fulfill you, contribution does. You see, money can buy convenience, but only meaning gives peace. Wealth without purpose eventually becomes a burden, a kind of golden cage. But when you shift from success to significance, everything changes. You begin to see wealth not as a storage of riches, but as a tool for impact. You start asking not, how much can I make, but how much good can I do? The wealthiest people I've known weren't just rich in money, they were rich in influence, in generosity, in purpose. They built businesses that employed thousands, donated to causes that saved lives, mentored young people who went on to do even greater things. Their wealth worked for others long after they were gone. That's the real definition of freedom. Not just having enough for yourself, but having the ability to lift others higher. I often tell people, if your wealth dies when you do, you didn't build it right. Create systems, trusts, or foundations that continue your vision when you're no longer here to guide it. Teach your children not just how to make money, but how to multiply it with wisdom and use it with integrity. That's legacy. And significance isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's mentoring one young person, funding one scholarship, helping one struggling family get back on their feet. I've seen people of modest means create enormous ripple effects simply by being intentional with their giving. You don't need millions to make a difference. You just need the mindset that says, I am a steward, not an owner. One of the greatest joys of wealth is seeing it serve beyond you. When your money funds ideas, feeds people, educates minds, or transforms futures, that's when it becomes meaningful. That's when wealth stops being a number and starts becoming a story, the story of a life that mattered. So, if you've already achieved success, don't stop there. Let it evolve. Let your wealth become your message. Because at the end of life, no one remembers the size of your portfolio. They remember the size of your impact. Success may bring applause, but significance leaves legacy. One of the most dangerous traps on the journey to wealth is what I call lifestyle creep. It's subtle. It sneaks in dressed as reward, disguised as progress. You start making more money, and naturally, you want to enjoy it. A nicer car, a bigger house, dinners at finer places. You tell yourself, I've earned it. And maybe you have. But here's the truth. Income growth means nothing if your expenses grow faster. The wealthy understand something the average person doesn't. When money comes in, it's not a signal to spend more, it's a signal to invest more. I remember a time early in my career when my income started to climb for the first time. I thought I'd made it. So I started spending like I had. I upgraded everything, wardrobe, furniture, vacations, and within a few months I was right back to where I started, broke, but this time with better shoes. That experience taught me something crucial. You can look rich or you can be rich, but rarely both at the same time. Millionaires live below their means, so their money can work above theirs. See, when you reward yourself too early, you steal from your future self. You trade long-term freedom for short-term comfort. The wealthy delay gratification because they understand the math of patience They let their assets grow until those assets, not their effort, can fund the lifestyle they want. That's not deprivation, that's strategy. It's not about saying no to nice things, it's about saying not yet. Every time your income increases, make sure your investment rate increases, not your spending. If you get a raise, don't think, what can I buy now? Think, what can I build now? The habit of automatic investing is one of the most powerful wealth tools there is. When you decide in advance that a portion of every dollar goes to work for you, whether in stocks, businesses, or real estate, you're putting your money on your payroll. One practical rule that has served me well is the 30-day rule for major purchases. When you feel the urge to buy something expensive, wait 30 days. If you still want it after that, and it fits your wealth plan, go ahead. But most times, the desire fades, and you'll realize it wasn't a need, just a momentary itch. Another key habit is tracking where your money goes. You can't control what you don't measure. Awareness breeds discipline. The goal isn't to live cheaply, it's to live wisely. The difference is intention. Cheap is cutting corners out of fear. Wise is cutting excess out of purpose. When you manage your lifestyle with restraint today, you build a foundation that will let you live abundantly tomorrow. So, remember, wealth isn't built by what you earn, but by what you keep and multiply. Don't let lifestyle creep rob you of the freedom you've worked so hard to earn. One of the greatest secrets to lasting wealth isn't willpower, it's automation. The people who build wealth consistently don't rely on motivation every morning. They rely on systems. Discipline is wonderful. But even the most disciplined person has off days, tired days, emotional days. Automation is what keeps your financial life moving forward when your emotions would rather take the day off. You see, when you build automatic habits around money, you remove the need for constant decision making, and decision fatigue is one of the greatest enemies of consistency. There was a time in my life when I used to think I could will my way to wealth. I'd tell myself I'll save what's left at the end of the month. But somehow, at the end of every month, there was nothing left. Then I learned a simple truth. What's automatic gets done, and what's optional gets delayed. The wealthy understand this. They don't leave saving and investing up to chance or emotion. They design their systems so that good financial behavior happens without negotiation. Imagine this. Every time your paycheck hits, a percentage automatically flows into savings, another into investments, and what remains is what you're free to spend. You don't have to think about it, plan for it, or battle with temptation. It just happens. That's the power of automation. You're building the muscle of wealth without friction. This isn't just about money, it's about habits. Automation turns your good intentions into guaranteed actions. You can even automate your learning and reflection. Set digital reminders once a month to review your goals and track your progress. Use financial apps that send you updates on your investments, spending patterns, and savings milestones. When you can see your progress automatically, your motivation stays alive. What gets measured improves, and what gets automated endures. I've seen too many people fail not because they lacked ambition, but because they relied too heavily on it. They wanted to do better, but they were too busy, too tired, or too distracted. Automation solves that problem. It doesn't ask for your attention every day. It simply obeys the plan you've already made. You set it once, and it keeps serving you for years. Think about it. The sun doesn't rise because it feels like it. It rises because it's built into the system of the universe. That's how your financial life should operate. Predictable, dependable, and aligned with your purpose. Automation brings peace to your finances because you know things are happening behind the scenes even while you sleep. So, start where you are, automate your savings, automate your investments, automate your progress tracking, take the emotion out of what should be logical, because when your systems work harder than your moods, wealth becomes inevitable. Remember, success isn't built on daily decisions, it's built on design disciplines. And when those disciplines run automatically, financial freedom stops being a dream. It becomes a system that quietly works in your favor every single day. One of the simplest yet most profound truths about wealth is this: every fortune began with someone who solved a problem. Behind every company, every invention, every enterprise worth mentioning, there was once an inconvenience that everyone complained about but no one acted on. Wealth hides inside those inconveniences. The people who get rich aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're often just the ones who learn to look at problems differently. They don't say, "What a mess." They say, "What a market." When I was young, I used to think opportunities came with big signs and flashing lights, that wealth was reserved for those with the right connections or the right timing. But I learned that opportunities rarely announce themselves. They disguise themselves as hard work, frustration, or need. If you train your mind to see those moments for what they truly are, you'll never lack ideas, only the courage to pursue them. Let me tell you something. People are always paying for solutions. The question is, are they paying you? The more significant the problem you solve, the greater your compensation. That's the law of the marketplace. If you help one person, you make a living. If you help thousands, you build wealth. And if you build systems that solve problems long after you've stopped working, you build freedom. The key is to start paying attention. Keep a journal of the small frustrations you encounter every day, the things that annoy you, waste your time, or make life harder. Those aren't just annoyances, they're whispers from opportunity. Because if something frustrates you, chances are it frustrates thousands of others. And if you can find a way to remove that friction, you've found a source of income that can last a lifetime. Think about it. The world rewards those who relieve pain or add pleasure, whether it's a product that saves time, a service that saves money, or an idea that inspires others. Wealth flows toward those who make life better. But here's the secret. Don't look for complex problems first. Start small. Solve something simple, but solve it well. Simplicity scales faster than complexity. And remember, you don't have to invent something new. You can improve what already exists. You can build better systems, offer better service, or present a better experience. Innovation is often just improvement done consistently. Look around. Every successful business started with someone saying, "There's got to be a better way." But to do that, you must train your ears to listen and your mind to observe. Listen to what people complain about. Listen to what they wish they had. That's your map to wealth. The poor complain, the rich create. So from this day forward, let every obstacle trigger curiosity, not frustration. Ask, what's the opportunity here? Write it down, explore it, test it. You'll begin to see the world differently, not as a place full of problems, but as a field of possibilities. Because the truth is, wealth doesn't hide in money, it hides in service. And the person who learns to turn problems into profits never runs out of both. As we come to the close of this message, let me remind you of something simple, yet powerful. The clock of opportunity never stops ticking, whether you are 20 or 60, whether you are starting from zero or rebuilding after loss. The principle remains the same. The best time to build your future was yesterday, and the next best time is right now. Life does not wait for perfect conditions, and wealth does not arrive by accident. It's built brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. Now, I know many people hear about wealth, freedom, and success and immediately think it's too late for me, or I don't have enough. But I want to challenge that thought tonight. The truth is, you already have enough to start. You have time, you have energy, you have experience, and above all, you have the ability to make a new decision. Decisions shape destiny, not the economy, not the government, not your upbringing. Just decisions. You can't change where you started, but you can absolutely change where you end up. I remember when I was young and broke, not poor in spirit, but broke in the wallet. I was full of potential but empty of plan. One day, someone told me, for things to change, you have to change. That one line rearranged my thinking. I realized wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. You attract success by the level of discipline, vision, and service you bring to the world. Money doesn't respond to wishing, it responds to value. And value comes from what you learn, what you practice, and what you build. So, if you truly want to change your life, start with your philosophy. Change your relationship with time, money, and growth. Don't wait for motivation, start with discipline. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. Read the books, build the habits, save the dollars, plant the seeds, because what you do today silently writes your financial story for tomorrow. And remember, this isn't just about money, it's about freedom. Freedom to live life on your terms, to choose your time, to serve without strain, and to give without fear. That's real wealth. And that kind of wealth doesn't come from chasing quick wins. It comes from compounding small, wise decisions over years of consistency. Every moment you waste in indecision is a moment lost in building that freedom. Think big, because small dreams don't inspire big action. But start smart, because passion without plan is poverty in disguise. The great ones don't do extraordinary things, they do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. Build systems, not chaos. Build assets, not appearances. Build impact, not ego. Let every dollar you earn be a soldier that fights for your freedom, not your vanity. And once you begin to build, protect what you create. Guard your wealth with wisdom, your health with discipline, and your mind with education. Don't let your lifestyle outrun your values. Don't let comfort replace your hunger. Growth is a lifelong process, and the minute you stop learning, you start declining. But perhaps the most fulfilling part of wealth is what you do with it. The goal isn't to die rich, the goal is to live useful. Use your resources to elevate others, to teach, to mentor, to serve. The richest life isn't measured in your bank balance. It's measured in the difference you make when you're gone. So tonight, my call to you is this: make a decision. A simple, powerful decision to start today, to start small, to start smart, to build a life of meaning, mastery, and freedom. Don't wait for the world to give you permission, give it to yourself. Don't let another year pass with the same excuses. Your new life doesn't begin when conditions improve. It begins the moment you decide to change your philosophy and act on it daily. Start building, start learning, start investing. Because the journey to wealth is not about luck, it's about design. And when you design your life with vision, discipline, and purpose, you'll discover that success was never somewhere out there. It was always waiting inside you, ready for the day you decided to begin.